2 at this stage. And then Thomas Tuchel makes substitutions that at the time when you were thinking was maybe a bit early to start protecting that lead.
I thought a little bit early to drop in and concede we're not going to have the ball at all. And I think Mexico, as good as we defended, Mexico played into our hands here in terms of just putting balls in the box. And
that tells you what England were doing from 70 minutes onwards.
That's called the avocado defence.
No, but we defended the box brilliantly, but I think Mexico played into our hands in putting balls in the box and allowing us to head out or Pickford to come and punch and take the pressure off his teammates. But I think if Mexico played a little bit more around the box and made it more difficult that way and made us try and get to the ball, it would have maybe been more difficult. And they lost patience, but we defended excellent.
Is that with the crowd way and getting on them? They looked like they lost all sense of what was going on, and like you say, played completely into England's. If England could have set up a game plan against them once they made those changes, that's exactly what they would have wanted.
Yeah.
But the subs made a difference, didn't they?
Yeah.
I thought Byrne was outstanding. John Stones, the composure he showed as well. Even Spence in them one-on-one situations. I probably agree with you in terms of it felt like it was a little bit early, but in the end, it worked.
Yep.
And you can tell that chemistry with the team, no matter who plays, they're going to do a job for the team.
Mick, sorry, just a quick note on Jed Spence. Obviously, he took a lot of heat from the last game. Was he injured? Was he not injured? That was an incredible effort, what he put in for his team.
Yeah, I think it's difficult, isn't it? Because today's game was a little bit different to what we've seen, certainly in the grouping against DR Congo. And what Tuchel wanted him to do in terms of get up and down, and you see him on the sideline shouting him to go. It wasn't that sort of game today. It was come on, keep your composure and deal with the wide areas, and he did that fantastically.
Big character,
well today.
though. I'm really pleased for him.
But even at the end here, the last 20 minutes, when what we've said with the three of us have pointed this out in the England games is when we open up defensively and we're running out of position and we're not covering the space, we look easy to play against. But even this shows with 10 men, when you're compact, even if you're deep, it's so difficult for the opposition to break you down. So I think moving forward with 11 players, we need to just get that balance right. But I'm going a little bit negative here, but the performance, we have to keep that and take it into the next few games because we will need that.
You said before the game, communication. We did the analysis before. They communicated a lot better today, and they needed to. It felt like a big occasion, and they rose to it.
I just think it's interesting just to go back to the substitutions, because what Tuchel was praised for right at the start of the tournament against Croatia was making very positive, very attacking substitutions, whereas in this one he did the opposite. He made very defensive substitutions and put pretty much every player behind the ball and said, right, we're 3-2 up, we're down to 10 men, we cannot lose this. It was a different approach from what we've seen from him.
That was an old school English mentality.
Yeah.
You know, when you all look at each other and say, keep the spaces, stop the crosses, and when it comes in the box, bodies on the line. And fair play to him, because I think that was the right thing to do. It turned out in the end.
It was just that in-game management, wasn't it? It's knowing when to, against Croatia, freshen it up, bring new wingers on, and then today it was about, okay, let's defend our box. And that is ultimately the difference. Southgate, we've mentioned, so did such a good job, but it's just these little details, and that could be the difference going forward.
10 goals for Jude Bellingham, now 7 of which have come at major tournaments, including 2 against Mexico. Here he is.
Well, Jude, huge congratulations. What an effort from every single player on the team. What are your thoughts on what you and your teammates have just done out there?
Hard to gather it all together, really. With 10 men, defending like how we defended our box, clinical like we were in their box, big pressure moments that, maybe in years gone by, especially me watching as a fan, as a little kid, probably England would have crumbled, and this team they stuck together until the last second. The players who came on, the players who started running themselves into the ground, putting the body between everything. That's what this team's about.
What was it like being in that atmosphere, and also then when you were seeing some of those refereeing decisions, the adversity that England were having to come up against?
Yeah, the atmosphere was by far the best I played against in international football. I think this country, as a footballing country, is just magnificent. The reception we had coming off the plane, you know, although it was hostile, it was just a beautiful thing to see in terms of how passionate one country can be about their team. And in terms of the refereeing decisions, it is what it is. You know, in the World Cup, they're human as well. As easy as it is to say now, they're the human. We made a lot more than they did. So yeah, no worries, we got through.
Your 2 goals were inside 98 seconds, which were undoubtedly important. But was that clearance at the end of the first half as well arguably just as important?
Yeah, it could have been. Obviously at 2-1 the game was still there, especially when they scored. It felt like the stadium almost collapsed. So yeah, it was probably an important clearance, just as important as the goals. But you know, this win is far bigger than me. It's the players who came on, like I said. It's the supporters who've come to Mexico and probably had a difficult journey, paid hard-earned money. This is a team, a whole country's performance.
What can this confidence and belief do for England going into what looks like an exciting quarter-final against Norway?
Well, it's still one game at a time. You know, at the end of the day, it's still just around a 16 win. The quarter-final now coming up against Norway, they pose a completely different threat. Some that we know really well, obviously some world-class players in there. So we'll have to be ready. But my God, if you can't enjoy a night like this just for one night, then I don't know what it's worth.
Just one quick word on your friend Jordan Henderson. We saw him in what looked like quite a lot of distress at the end. How is he?
He's in a bit of bother, but our medical team have got everything under control. Probably not best to give too much detail when I don't really know too much going on. But yeah, everyone was there to support him, and even that was a beautiful thing to see.
Thanks, Jude. Pleased you've got a voice because Harry doesn't.
Yeah, I know, I've heard.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Yeah, we wish Jordan Henderson well in terms of his recovery. And as Jude Bellingham said, he's got the medical team with him and they've got everything in hand. Jude Bellingham certainly had everything in hand as far as the game is concerned. I think what was interesting to see in terms of his performance was, we can look at the defensive side maybe when we look at Mexico's goal, but if he gets these 2 really important goals, Wayne.
This is so good, the movement and the ability to see it as it's gone out wide and delay his run into the penalty box, and then just being that explosive and that movement to get into the penalty box and get in the end of it was brilliant. And again here, obviously we win the ball back high up the pitch, and then as Joe said at half time, you're expecting Harry Kane to shoot, and then just that desire to get in the box and on the end of things. And he's been fantastic this World Cup. He's been a leader. He's, you know, everything you want to a player from that position, helping out defensively. But you know, there was debate whether he should start and should play in this World Cup. I think he's answered all them questions.
He's just an absolute superstar, isn't he? I mean, he always turns up, always gives 100%. Yeah, he's got that confidence that some might say is arrogance, but to be that type of player, you need that. That is the difference. And when he puts on that England shirt, he just seems to go up a level even more. I just love watching him. He's amazing.
And while he went, just when you talk about the confidence, while he went out of his way to praise the England fans, to talk about the feeling of togetherness, to talk about the unity within the squad, he did also say that when he was a kid, that this England, or an England team that he watched when he was a kid, would have crumbled. So just quick maths, 2018 when England reached the semi-finals, he'd have been 15. So I think he's talking about 2010 and 2014, and I didn't know if anybody wanted to say anything about that.
Well, we didn't crumble, we didn't turn off. He didn't do enough to crumble. So yeah, no, listen, he's completely right. And you just hope, I think England's got a team, a togetherness, and I think the manager's been very bold with his squad selection.